And we're live.
Awooga.
Yeah.
Feels like it's been a hot minute, because it has been.
It has been a hot minute.
Yeah.
You are welcome for the in-between session.
Yeah, while I was gone in Bend, Oregon, our resident Twink Lord took over and ran a Pathfinder one shot.
And it lasted 7.5 hours. And they begged me for more.
I wish we got 12
They
minutes.
didn't even
It
fight
was a
everything I prepared for them
It was
to
a
fight.
marathon. It was great.
So, how is everybody?
Good.
Good.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Oh.
You know.
Okay.
All right. My anxiety's been really bad these past couple of weeks, but hopefully it gets better soon.
It
what else?
will.
Oh, I got my orcs. I got my fucking orcs.
Got your fucking orcs.
Yeah, the Beast Snagga box. It came out like a couple weeks ago, but it sold out in 10 minutes, so I wasn't able to buy it. Then I go to Bend, Oregon. I go to a game store there, and what's sitting there on the fucking counter?
You got lucky.
I got lucky, and now I have all these delightful little orcs on giant squigs to paint.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. So, without any further ado,
Aja.
Without further ado.
Ugh.
Aja.
It's a new one.
Oh my god.
Without further chugging.
It's not track. We like to drink with Connor because Connor is our mate. We like to drink with Connor.
let's play some D&D.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna come back to
do
haunt me
that.
in a second. That's gonna give me the poo-poos. Anyway, so hello, I am your DM, as always, Connor Man. With me, as always, is Ethan, playing the Dragonborn Monk Gesh. Sophie, playing the Halfling Barbarian Ozla Highhill. We have Vin, playing the Dark Elf Warlock, Durin Kolbavar. We have M, playing Fenkin Padhaween, the Half-Elf Ranger. We have Finn, who is playing Opportunity Nox, the Tabaxi Bard, and we have Finithy, who is playing our half-Tabaxi Artificer, known as Kira.
Stop.
All right. So, picking up where we last left off, if you guys remember, the shepherds have finally escaped from the Feywild by way of the World Wound, hurled through extra-dimensional space until finally returning to Exandria, with a new friend in tow. Say hi, Kira.
Yeah.
Hey, excellent, fantastic. Anyway. However, it would seem that they found themselves out of the frying pan and into the fire, as they haven't just made it back to Exandria, but they've landed on a ship, seemingly falling from the sky. Where we left off specifically, Nox's head was being slowly lifted up from the wooden deck, the edge of a blade tipped against her chin to look up at its wielder. Nox, before you stands a half-elven woman. A high-elven woman.
Mhm.
Holy shit in Christ, hang on. A high-elven woman standing against the bright of the sun, which shines down upon her long red coat and her matching tricorn cap. Golden yellow hair spills out from under the brim as she looks down at you, her face slender, with sharp-cutting features, and one eye covered in a black patch, kind of mirroring your own. The eye that remains, the left one, peers down at you as she smirks, and she lifts the blade so that the tip is pointed right at your nose. As you stare down at the length of steel, you find that it seems to be coming out of the sleeve of her jacket, her hand completely concealed inside as she grins, gently tapping the toe of her boot against the floor of the ship. And as she points her weapon at you, Nox, she says once again, "I'll ask you one more time, before I gut you like a pig. Who are you, and how the fuck did you get on my ship?"
Can't believe she's a redcoat.
big Goggins wear coats.
Yeah, what's wrong with your coat?
Is this an allegory?
Even I'm not that smart.
So Nox is kind of silent for a couple of seconds. Looks at the woman and just kind of with her eyes, not really moving her head because she has a sharp thing pointed at it. But her eyes sort of sweep the surrounding area, the sky above them that they presumably dropped out of. And then she focuses back on the woman and she says, "So you've never seen a cat fall out of the sky before?"
Funny. You won't have time to be funny when your tongue is ripped out of your throat. All of you, up. And she kind of like points her sword at all of you as you feel kind of like the rocking of the gentle rocking of the ship that you stand on. And as you all slowly begin to stand up, you suddenly feel several sets of eyes all around you as you realize you are totally surrounded by a very diverse group. And Ozla, you can tell from their clothing and from their style that these are not normal sailors. Not sailors from Port Zoon or from Port Damali or anything like that. You've seen sabers like these before. You know how to recognize mismatched outfits made from stolen garments. You are aboard a pirate ship. And as you stand up, Ozla, you look up at the flagpole against the black mast of this huge, just massive wooden ship, and you see a blue flag snapping in the wind. Upon it, the skull of a wolf with a saber beside it.
I see. Can I roll to know exactly what pirate group that is?
You absolutely may, and you can do it with advantage.
Because I'm a pirate. Oh my god. Wait, would that be perception roll?
No, that would be history. That'd be history for you.
Oh shit.
Oh, a history check.
Well, this one isn't counting, but let's. Yeah, that was a 4. So. And that was.
So you know nothing.
Okay, so while you don't quite
That was with advantage?
Yeah.
What was your other roll?
4. And my history is a +0.
So while you don't quite remember the exact name of this particular ship, you do remember your old captain telling you some stories. You do also remember a meeting between ships when you were just a very young girl. And that's when the woman who currently has her blade up against Nox's throat starts to seem somewhat familiar. But you don't have time to act on that, as all of you are kind of like huddled into a circle. All around you, there's pirates of different shapes and sizes, races and creeds, surrounding you, weapons drawn. Gesh, behind you turn around with your staff drawn, and behind you stands a man in a huge suit of armor. The faceplate kind of like jutting down so you can't see his face. He stands a foot taller than you.
Oh, big boy.
Durin, as you might try to like kind of back away towards Gesh, but you hear a ah. And when you look down, there's a dwarf standing before you. A dwarf who doesn't seem to be wearing a shirt, but is instead wearing a pair of pantaloons and wielding a pair of dangerously sharp axes. He's covered in scar flesh and tattoos. One eye has been chopped completely away, and his hair is done up in this huge orange crest. He smiles at you with broken teeth and kind of points his axe at you and says, "I wouldn't do that."
Wasn't doing anything.
As you guys are kind of like surrounded on all sides by these pirates, Nox, the woman slowly approaches you, her blade still up against your throat, and as she gets closer, she kind of like slides it up against your neck, not in a way that cuts into the flesh, but coming dangerously close, as she kind of like cocks her head and takes a long look at you before stepping back and saying, "It's not very often that we have stowaways on my ship, and lesser still do we have stowaways that happen to fall from the sky."
She is just kind of looking back at her. She's just looking back at her kind of evenly.
You're our spokesperson.
I guess so.
We're all just quietly watching you.
Yeah, I mean, she's kind of steel nerved and all, so very well. It's probably not the first time that she's found herself in a situation somewhat similar to this. And she says, "Well, we didn't exactly choose where we would end up. I suppose if we were a few minutes later, we probably would have ended up in the sea. So for that, you have our thanks. But we have no intention of staying here, believe me. We have another place to be."
Oh, and I have no intention of keeping you here, darling. In fact, I fully intend to throw you to the sharks. And as she says that, there's a little gnomish man beside her with eyes completely covered by a blindfold and his head completely bald. He's kind of dressed in like a similar outfit to hers, but his jacket is blue. And as he waves both of his hands, you see that they're both like hooks instead of like actual hands. And he says, "It's an omen! An omen! Demons, they fall from the sky! I've told you, Brannigan, please stop talking."
She cocks her eyebrow at him, glances back at her assembled party, looks at Durin for a couple of seconds. He's kind of close to being a demon falling from the sky. He's about as close as they have. And then she looks back and to the woman that they have been speaking to. She regards her and says, "At the very least, can you tell us what quadrant of the sea we are in?"
Make a persuasion check.
Okay.
Ooh.
And then I have to go and navigate to my character sheet.
I thought you already had it out.
I did, but then here we go. Okay. That is a 19.
A 19, all right. She kind of regards what you said for a moment and says, "Well, you're not quite one to be asking questions, but if you must know, you're a few miles off the coast of Port Zoon."
Hmm.
And once again...
And are...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
And are you returning to port or leaving?
Oh, darling, I haven't been to port in years. I'd prefer my head stay where it is, you understand.
Mm-hmm.
I'm being a bit rude, I see. And she kind of like lifts the blade off of your neck, finally giving you a chance to breathe. And you watch as it disappears inside her sleeve. And she kind of like puts it over her chest and she says, "My name is Talnaris Brig. I am captain of the Stormwolf, the ship that you are currently trespassing upon. And there's only one way that I deal with trespassers, but you're a bit different, so I'm going to need to take some time to ruminate on what it is exactly that I'd like done with you all."
Nox kind of dips her head and glances around at the other assembled pirates, and then looks kind of over her shoulder at Ozla for a second, but doesn't say anything to her just yet. I dropped my dice.
She kind of
well.
like follows your gaze, and when it lands on Ozla, she pauses. Her eyes widen, and suddenly, like any sort of like smirk on her face like boils away, and suddenly she snaps her finger. Busman, to the front. And you watch as an androgynous half elf steps up, kind of like wrapped in leathers. He's got these long white boots on and kind of like this green coat as well. And he seems to be holding a. If you guys don't know what a hurdy-gurdy is, it's basically like this cranking pirate musical device that plays kind of like not recorded music, but sort of like it's sort of like
It's
a large
like
version
a violin and a piano.
Yeah,
I know
exactly.
It's one.
I thank God I did not know how to describe a hurdy-gurdy. But
It's
you
like
all watch.
if a pianist wanted to play the violin.
You all watch as this ethereally beautiful half elf kind of like smirks at you all, and kind of wraps his slender fingers around the crank of the hurdy-gurdy, and as he begins to like turn it, the tune that starts to play, the melody, is hauntingly beautiful, and their voice even more so as they open their lips to sing. Beware his mother, king of the undertow, one who takes the strongest below. And as the music begins to pierce your ears, you all feel the same warmth bloom in the back of your skull as your eyes begin to grow very heavy.
Okay, can I immediately start running right towards this guy to see if I can just smack him right in the face to stop him from doing this?
Go ahead, and while you're doing that, give me a Constitution check.
Okay.
We're surrounded by pirates with their weapons drawn.
God.
We're just gonna use multiple.
Want us all to roll a Constitution check?
Love Gesh so much.
Okay.
Are we all rolling?
No, just Gesh, because he's running towards the bard.
Is a 13 good?
Nope.
Was that your Constitution? Oh.
So
yeah, that was Constitution.
You all watch as Gesh like grabs his staff, turns, and starts to like charge the bard, who doesn't even flinch as he begins to approach. But halfway through, Gesh, your legs start to feel as heavy as lead. Suddenly, the staff in your arms, something that you're so accustomed to holding, feels heavier and heavier to the point where finally it just clatters out of your fists. Your run becomes a trot, and then like a slow plod, and you will all watch as he kind of stops, sways back and forth, and Kira, you turn around just in time to see Gesh, boom, right on top of you.
Oh, jeez. Rest in peace.
Poor Kira.
All right, this is it. It's my last game. Kira's dead.
One by one, you all start to kind of collapse in the same way. Durin, you go next.
Saving throw.
What's that?
Where's our saving throw?
You're not the one who ran.
Still get a saving throw against a spell effect.
You want a saving throw? Go ahead.
What
we all get
what would that be?
If you all want to make a Constitution saving throw, you can.
Oh,
Of
con?
course I do.
I don't have dick for a con saving throw, so
Never mind.
this is not going to go well.
I mean, I had a plus
7.
3, and I did fairly badly. So.
Well, I got a 15. That's as good as I can do.
17.
Better than I did.
Actually, that's not bad.
17 isn't enough? Oh,
It's
God.
isn't it? Or something.
Hmm?
You've just made it 30 or something, so that we can't forget.
You just made it 30. Gotta save again. You gotta at least give the opportunity to save against a spell effect, Connor.
All right. Let me ask you something, Vin. Did you save?
No, but I still wanted to roll.
Connor,
What?
6 got a 20.
Okay.
Oh,
All right. A natural 20?
do it, Oz.
Sophie, your mic's off. We can't hear.
Because her brother is vacuum.
Wait, she's typing. Filthy 20, dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Okay. Why did you call it? Kira, I'm gonna say you don't get to roll because you were squished under Kesh and
dead.
you were
He's
knocked
dead.
out immediately.
You've already, yeah.
He got
you've
knocked
already-
the fuck out.
So
Yeah, you guys
He's
see
just straight up dead.
you guys see you see Kira's armored arms and legs, but that's about it.
Splat.
Just like the tip of his tail peeking out, and that's it.
Oh.
But as you all one by one begin to collapse, your eyes closing, Ozla, you are the only one who remains awake, but not for very long. And as you kind of eventually fall to your knees, the last of your team awake, Talnaris looks down at you, cocks her head, and she says, "Well, I'll be. Dead men really do tell any tales, do they?" And your eyes shut. Blackness. Darkness. And when you open them,
Said she can't unmute.
and when you open them, you find that the air that you breathe as you take that first inhale after a long sleep isn't the salty, moist air. Instead, it's something danker, a bit smellier, like stale sweat and old wood.
Ethan, stop! I can't.
Your eyes. God damn it, Ethan. As your eyes begin to open and as you blink, adjusting to the darkness, the first thing you see are the wooden bars all around you. Then you see Gesh, slumped against the corner of a wooden cage. You see Durin as well, who's for some reason kind of like tapping at the ground with a spoon.
Where did he get it? Where did he get the spoon?
You see Kira, still unconscious and kind of like lying on a bench. There's Nox and Fenkin. Nox and Fenkin are there as well, both of them conscious. But you all find yourselves in what seems to be the brig of this ship, inside a kind of like makeshift cage built into the center of the brig, with bamboo shafts kind of like attached to the ceiling and the floor. You actually have quite a bit of space in this particular in this particular cage, but it's very hard to see down here. The only thing that seems to be lighting up the
Not
room
for
at
me.
all, not for you. Well, obviously not for you, but
Oh.
fucking dark vision. Anyway,
no, DM, I have dark vision.
the only thing
Sure
that seems,
do.
for any of you who don't have dark vision, the only thing that seems to be lighting up the room in any sense, casting a yellow glow against the wood, seems to be a strange sort of mushroom growing out of the walls. There's not very many. In fact, you can only count 4 or 5 basketball-sized mushrooms, but the caps of them seem to be glowing with a faint bioluminescence. This is indeed some kind of storage room. You can see barrels and crates all about you. You can see things. You can see tools and things hanging from the wooden slats. But you can also still tell that you're on the ship because you can feel that rocking back and forth, to and fro. You hear the faint sound of the splashing of the sea up against the hull. So yeah, y'all are in a cage.
Cool.
We have our stuff.
Great.
You do not. All you have are the clothes on your back. Durin,
Still have
all.
Thank God.
necklaces?
What's that?
At least we have that.
Do I still have my necklaces on?
No.
Does he have his book?
No.
Did they take Kira's armor?
So they knocked everybody unconscious. They saw that one of them was a fucking drow and had a book made of skin attached to him, and they were like, "We should definitely take this off of him. We should definitely remove this from his possession."
Well, I don't have spells without my staff or my dark shard amulet, so sorry guys.
Oh, Eldritch Blast!
No.
Oh my god, wait.
I'm
Nyla
gonna
Princess is
live.
there too, right?
Oh yeah. I keep forgetting there's so many fucking animals in this goddamn campaign.
We got so many pets.
So you can see Nilo and Princess are not in this cage, but Fenkin, as you like grab the bars and look and peer through the room, you see Nilo is in a cage somewhere off in the corner, looking very distraught and sad. Kind of like his paws, his face in his paws as he lets out a low growl. And Princess is in a cage next to him. Princess, who is far less pleased, is kind of like running around, bouncing off the cage, making it like bounce around a bit, and you hear.
Good God.
Oh right, he can't talk anymore.
Oh yeah.
Can he?
Oh,
Oh,
I am going to start mumbling prayers.
Oh, that's not
While
good.
tapping your spoon.
Separated from my skin book, I can take an hour to pray, and I'll get another one.
Holy shit.
Oh, right.
Do we lose skin?
The previous one will turn to ash, and I'll get a new one in an hour. So I do
Okay.
mumbling prayer.
Will it take
Okay.
skin from us?
So, Ozla, you're watching as Durin kind of like hunches over with his spoon and just starts to whisper. And as you try to listen in, you don't recognize some of the words. And when you do start to hear kind of what he's saying, your ears start to hurt. So you just kind of like stop listening.
Just not gonna.
But yeah,
Not even gonna
Connor,
go
you
there.
didn't answer my question.
I'm sorry. What's up? What's up?
Did Kira get his arm stolen off of him?
Yeah. Somehow your armor has been completely removed.
Oh,
Rude.
very rude.
But Princess's
Sorry,
armor.
that was my question. Continue.
Yeah. So as it stands, everybody except Kira is awake. Kira is still kind of like on a bench, probably a few ribs turned to powder, but beyond that.
He's
Well, now you know
fine.
how
He still has
Durin
this tip of a spearhead on his shoulder too. He's fine.
Oh. He's had a really bad time since leaving the
Yeah,
Feywild.
he's not liking
Yeah.
this group too much.
Yeah. By the way, Kira, where the spear was lodged into your shoulder, you find that it's been. Well, you don't because you're. But when you do awaken, you'll find that it's been. You'll find that it's been bandaged up rather professionally.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So they do.
Oh. That's arguable.
Connor,
So.
is it very filthy down there?
Yes.
Oh god, no!
The floorboards have that kind of consistency where if you rub your hand across it, your hand comes up feeling almost like a pencil eraser.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a great feeling. In fact, Fenkin, as you like take your hands away from the bars, you look down and see that they're just like soot black. Okay. So you guys watch as Fenkin passes out, and as soon as that happens, Nilo's head perks up to look over at Fenkin, and you see that he's been muzzled. There's like a leather cup that's been like clasped around his mouth.
My poor boy.
Yeah, Franken passes out and lays on the filthy floor like.
Gash. But is Gash in a separate cage, or is it just in the same cage as everyone else?
All the humanoids are in the same big cage.
Okay. Yeah, Gash. Uses his foot to push Fenkin over so he rolls around a little bit. So he's completely covered in soot.
Gotta toast both sides.
Yeah, basically.
The disrespect. Nox is just kind of sitting there, and she watches this, and she sighs, and scoots over. She was like sitting on the ground, so she doesn't really like get up, but she just kind of like crab walks over to Fenkin just to like make sure he's okay, just to like give him a quick check. And as she does that, she says, "Well, to be honest, this is not the worst cage I have found myself in. I don't know about the rest of you."
Rocking back and forth while I pray.
Oh, bless you.
I've never actually been in a cage before.
Oh, you have not lived, my friend. You've not lived until you found yourself at 2 a.m, waking up in a cell that is the size of your thumb in some city you don't remember the name of.
Well,
Fisting and
I mean,
cheese.
we've all been in a cell before, but this is more of a cage than semantics. I think we could destroy the bars of this place with enough force.
Probably, but if we did, then we would just have to fight through the mass of pirates. Speaking of pirates, and she looks at Ozla and raises her eyebrows and says, "Do you know this crew?"
I don't know. I think Oz is just like sat down and she's just been like watching thinking roll back and forth, kind of blankly, just like dun 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 dun. But at the question, she sort of like perks her, and there's like a glazed look in her eye, like she's not entirely there because she hasn't been on a ship since. And she sort of like claps her hands together and she's like, "Well, not. I don't really know this crew, but from the looks of them, they look like right bastards. And for once, I want to take the calm approach about this. Do not break out of here. Do not fuck any shit up. And we're going to be okay."
Wow.
Fuck any shit up!
What was
Connor!
You all hear this like loud voice, and you turn, and as you all like turn around to look, you don't see anything in the room other than you guys, Nilo, and Princess still very angrily kind of thrashing against the cage.
I pay no. I continue mumbling.
Whoever that is, I may not have my weapons, but I can still wrangle a neck. Where are you?
What? Wrangle a neck!
Oh, it's a parrot. It's a fucking.
Can we make a perception check to see where it is?
Yeah, go ahead and make a perception check, yeah.
Is anyone else going to make one with me, or am I just soloing this?
No, you can do it.
Right now, I can't help
You
you.
can do it.
I'm basically dead right now, so
Oh,
he's
it'll
kind of
rest
useless right now.
One dice, guys. It'll rest on this one dice. I'm going to get one. Oh no,
Okay.
I got 14.
Okay.
Oh.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, what's up, Ozla? What's up, Sophie?
No, I just said holla.
Oh, I thought you said my name and I got excited. Anyway, so you, Ozla, as you kind of like follow the location of the voice, you don't see anything that kind of really stands out in the room until your eyes finally fall on what seems to be a very small treasure chest about the size of a footlocker. It's made of brown wood and it's lined with like brass, kind of like brass plating. It looks like a very standard kind of chest, you know. And you also see that it's standing maybe a foot away from the cage itself, and you also realize that wasn't there before.
Hmm.
Fucking mimic. No, I don't know what to do. I think I'm just gonna like get up off my little seat, waddle over to Gash and sort of tap him and like wordlessly point it out. Because I don't know what the fuck it is, but I know it came from there.
Don't worry, everybody, the dream team's on it.
We got this, Gash. We got this.
Oh, okay. So Gesh Comes over to where she's pointing and sees the chest that wasn't full. And then lightning begins crackling
Oh God.
around his
Oh
mouth.
God.
He's
As
gonna
he
blow the
lets
whole shit up.
As he lets it build up a little before staring intently at it.
All right. I'm so glad you did that, Gesh, because
Oh,
as you breathe in and ready the magical essence of your lightning breath, suddenly it dissipates in your throat.
what?
Wait, what happened? What happened?
I don't. It just
Do you have
dissipated.
a tickle in your throat? What's going on?
No, it doesn't work like that.
I don't know how it works, man. Just what happened?
Well, something is making it not work in here. So, all right, fine. I'll do this the old-fashioned way. And he strolls over to it, to the chest, before going to grab it and pick it up.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
like reaching through the bars to pick it up.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you bring your hands out, and as everybody kind of like watches intently, you see that the treasure chest kind of like on one side, kind of like jumps a little bit. And then you watch as the wood begins to like warp a bit and stretch and flex, as if it's not actually wood, but flesh that looks like wood.
Gross.
At the very top of the chest on the lid, you watch as the brass kind of like splits in 4 different places to reveal 4 human eyes that kind of like blink a bit.
Gross.
Mm.
And 2 slits on the front of the chest open, and you hear a sniffing sound as your hand approaches. Finally, the chest itself opens up to reveal canine-like teeth as a long pink tongue starts to come out.
Okay, he's pulling his hands back immediately. Just no.
And as soon as your hands are back, the creature is kind of still for a second before its eyes widen and its tongue starts to like dip in and out of its mouth as it starts to pant like a dog.
God damn it!
Guys, we're getting another pet.
No, god damn it, no.
I don't want this one.
I don't
This
want
one.
this.
I want it.
This one should go overboard.
And as your hands go away, Gesh, you hear it. The chest lid opens and closes as you hear a voice. Dissipate!
Ugh.
It dissipated.
Dissipated!
Gross.
It's just copying us.
Wait, let's see what else it can say. Bitch.
Bitch!
Dick.
Dick!
Demonetized.
Demonetized,
I'm not awake.
Oh god.
This isn't getting us anywhere.
No, but it's fun.
You watch
For
as
you, maybe.
you watch as the lid closes and the eyes kind of like twitch as it makes kind of like a kind of sound, kind of like a wet gurgling sound, and you watch as suddenly thump, 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 4-pawed legs kind of like spring out from the corners of the chest, and it kind of like stands up on these like little pug paws.
It's
Ask it to bring me
cute.
my fucking black necklace. Tell it to fetch.
What was that, Vin?
I said ask it to bring me my fucking black necklace. Go tell it to fetch.
Go sniff it out.
Not that Durin would make any motions or suggestions. He is mumbling in a corner, rocking back and forth, looking very, very upset.
He's busy.
Yeah. So
Can I look?
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, Can I
was
look around the room to see if there's anything I can throw at this thing?
Well,
Finch right there.
as you kind of like peer around, there's nothing in reach for you from outside the cage, but inside you do see there's like what appears to be, maybe you hope, chicken bones of some kind of lying in scattered piles.
Hmm.
Ew.
Okay,
Maybe.
so
Take the spoon off of Durin. Just throw
Yeah,
the
he doesn't
spoon.
need that.
What's doing there?
I take one of the chicken bones and I lob it through the bars at the mimic thing.
Okay. I'm not even gonna make you do an attack roll, because as you throw it, the eyes suddenly like shoot up at it, and the tongue, and you watch as it like chews it up and swallows it. And now it's completely turned its attention to you, Gesh, and you see the little back of the treasure box begin to shake, which kind of like incidentally shakes its whole body.
I want it so bad.
The first thing that I'm gonna do when I break out of here is throw that thing overboard and let
It continues to pant for a little bit until suddenly the lid closes, and you hear, have you guys ever heard like a cat about to make a hairball? You see the treasure chest kind of like convulse a little bit as it makes that weird gurgly sound, and suddenly the chest opens impossibly wide, revealing a weird fleshy meaty throat on the inside, and something rolls down the tongue with something small and kind of glittery, and it clanks against the ground within reaching distance. And Gesh,
Glittery.
despite being covered in a very thick mucus of some kind, you immediately recognize the necklace that you bought for Durin back in Zadash.
Oh.
Well,
That was very nice.
I bought that. He helped me.
I hesitate for a second before just taking it and pulling it away from the rest of whatever's around it, and then Gesh just slowly holds it out to Durin.
Slimy.
I'm very
It's-
busy.
It's the drool that drips into your hand as you pick up it up. It's very like warm and thick, almost with the consistency of like the slime that YouTubers make.
Ew.
Gross.
Slime that YouTubers. What YouTubers make slime? What?
Like every
YouTuber.
YouTuber makes slime.
Like
Without looking at Gesh, I
They
just kind of hold
secrete
my hand out.
What? We don't make slime.
Maybe you don't.
We're about to.
Next Shepherds episode, we make slime.
Give me my necklace.
Give me that.
Yeah, Gesh just drops it in his hand. In Durin's hand.
I squeeze it really tight, and the drool like squishes between my fingers, and I bring it really close to me, and I keep mumbling.
Oh god.
And you hear a wooden thunk as the mimic does what I assume is like the mimic equivalent of sitting like a good boy.
Nox is kind of perked up, and she's looking over, and she squints, and she says, "Do you think it has any other of our things in there? Feed it another bone. See what it spits out."
Hmm.
Can't I
Go
stop?
on.
Okay,
I want
so,
the sword back.
how wide are the bars of this?
I'd say they're about like a fist across.
If you're gonna feed it me, I'm gonna kill you.
So not as wide as a floorboard, right?
What's that?
Oh god.
Not as wide as a floorboard then.
Not as wide as a
Are you
floorboard,
gonna
maybe
rip
half.
off a floorboard?
Okay then.
Guess she
Okay.
takes a ship apart.
Well, that was I was thinking about it. Anyway, so how many bones are there?
I'd say there's a good amount. You guys clearly aren't the only like prisoners that have been here, and the prisoners that have been here before have clearly enjoyed quite a few what you hope are chicken dinners of some kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dinners. You mean pigeon? Anyway. So Gesh picks up as many as he can get into his hands and chucks all of it at the mimic thing. Just
Gross.
Okay, so as there's this like rain of chicken. Have you guys ever seen that video of like the ferret running down the stairs chasing a ball, and then the owner like dumps a huge tub of balls down the stairs, and the ferret's just like ah? That's kind of like the same reaction that this mimic gets as these bones start to like clatter around him. He snaps a few out of the air, and when the rest hit the floor, like an anteater, the tongue just. It's and you can hear the crunching and the cracking of the bones as he like chews down on them, which is a very upsetting sound. But after about 2 full minutes, there's no trace of bones anywhere on the ground.
damn.
And once more, and this time you watch as like the fleshy wood starts to like bulge against the brass.
Oh.
And finally, with much more force this time, it opens its mouth and you hear like a gagging sound as the head of Pyremal starts to slowly before finally boom, falling onto the floor.
Is it all of us?
Is it on fire?
It is not on fire, but the blackened steel is shiny with this mucus. It's like coated in a thin membrane of the drool. And unfortunately for you, it's not quite done, because when it finally ejects the huge shaft of Pyremal, it starts to like again, and out clatters a wooden cane.
Just a cane.
Just a cane that says the word courage on it.
Oh, it's gross. Nox is disgusted, but she is looking because she just wanted her sword back.
I'll bear in mind this was awful.
To save you like what would probably be 10 minutes of me describing this poor creature throwing up all of your weapons, you watch as eventually, after about 10 minutes in a very gooey, sticky pile, all of your belongings, including the skin book, which kind of like the scales kind of ripple and clank against the ooze.
I go scrambling for it. I'm clambering across the ground.
It's just out of reach. It's just out of reach.
Okay, so which things got through the bars?
Nothing really got through the bars, but Courage of the Rose and Pyremal, like their handles are kind of like within grabbing range. Pyremal, you'll have to reach out and kind of like do this kind of thing a little bit to get it. But yeah, you'd be able to get it with a good sleight of hand check.
I am beckoning my book and calling it closer with eldritch whispers.
All right.
So, nope.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, Gesh immediately goes to grab both weapons through the bars to try and pull them closer and see if he can maybe use them in some way.
All right, I'm gonna say.
Mage hand, right?
Oh yeah, mage hands.
I don't. No.
I don't.
I have mage hands, not.
Amongst them,
I do not. Unfortunately.
I thought I had dragon breath. I don't apparently.
So, Gesh, I'm gonna say you're able to get Courage of the Rose through the bars, no problem, sticky and wet as it is. But
Yeah.
as you get Pyramol and kind of like work the shaft through, you're like, oh, finally got it. Thump, 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 thump. The Warhammer head is just not getting through the bars. Just thump, thump, thump.
I just drop. Gesh just drops it. And it's just.
Yeah.
I'm not-
Be careful now.
I can't get through the bars. There's no point. But
Just pull
and then
harder.
I just pulled the bars apart. Come on.
You can do it, big guy.
all right, fine. If you want the mimic coming at us immediately,
What?
I mean, it's gonna come at you. It's fine, okay.
if it's gonna come at me, then and then he picks up the cane, then I'm keeping this.
Nox glares at him.
Well,
Do it. Pull those bars apart. Strength check.
Roll for strength. Roll for strength.
all right. So he kind of just he places it down. He places the cane down beside him for the moment before getting to the bars and starting to at least pull it apart.
Athletics
Pull one
check.
of the bars.
Athletics check.
Okay.
Use those muscles.
Those +2 masses.
Masses.
Okay. This is gonna go poorly. I know it.
Durin
Holy fuck.
stops praying for a minute to be like,
That was a natural 20.
Oh!
okay. So you guys watch as Gesh starts to like pull the bars. And the bamboo, Gesh, as you start to pull, you expect them to be like brittle wood, but these are held together like iron almost. But as you pull and pull and pull, it's pure force of will and might versus magical prowess as you start to like pull the bars apart, and you're able to get like your the width of your head. Like that's how much you're able to bend and rend the bars before footsteps can be heard. You hear the creaking of wood as somewhere somebody's descending.
And I mean, they grab the cane and get ready to maybe, I don't know, throw it at whoever's coming. I'm gonna wait until they get there, and then I'm gonna throw the cane into their
Okay. So, as you look towards the corner to see the darkened stairwell, as soon as you see a boot step down from the final step, I want you to make an attack roll.
Okay. I will. I'll make an attack roll.
Oh, this is gonna go poorly. I want you to know that Nox is going to yell at him.
I'm not gonna have my proficiency with this. It's just gonna be D20 plus strength.
Hey, whatever you want, man.
Okay.
I mean, do you have proficiency with throwing off?
Because it's a fucking cane.
I mean, technically it's a rapier, just not at the moment.
I don't remember the word, so Gesh doesn't remember the word. So,
the word to make it transform.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
It's gonna go poorly.
Oh no. Don't throw courage. I need that.
Very port window. It's going forever.
I need her.
That's a 12.
Okay. So
It's not bad.
as you throw the cane, you kind of like hurl it through the bars, and it looks like it's gonna hit the shadowy figure dead on before the tongue grabs it out of the air, and like a dog enjoying a bone, you hear like the clanking sound as as the mimic starts to like chew on Courage of the Rose, and
Okay.
Nox, in the back of your mind, you hear, "Help me, better mind! Help me, oh better mind! It's so wet and smelly, oh better mind!"
Oh my god.
Oh well.
Gross.
And with that, a new voice rises out of the darkness. "Oh, what's going on down here? It's all the fucking ruckus." And you watch as a spindly goblin makes his way out of the darkness, wearing boots and kind of like white linens, along with kind of like a brown overcoat as he steps into the light of the glow mushrooms. You see that his nose is is long and protruding. His ears are very wide out there, and he's much more pale green a goblin than you guys might be used to. There's kind of like a hyena style mohawk that starts at the very middle of his head and kind of goes back, black in color, and bushy eyebrows kind of like sit above eyes that are like a hazelnut brown coffee kind of color. You can tell that this goblin is sort of like middle aged, and he kind of like is wiping his hands with a cloth as he steps in, and as he walks in, the mimic turns to face him, standing next to its hoard of like gooey magical items, and it grins and starts to do its little wag. And the goblin kind of sighs and he's like, fuck. Biter, what I tell you about interacting with the prisoners? Come here. And you watch as the mimic runs over to the goblin, jumps up into his arms, and the goblin kind of like sheepishly like pats it on the back as it drops Courage of the Rose. And he kind of like looks at you all and he's like, "Oi, you lot. You fed him chicken bones, didn't you?"
I scramble back into the corner.
Maybe you should
Nox
take
is
care
just
of
trying to grab Courage and ignoring him.
What did you say?
Maybe you should take more care of your pet. How about you come over here and I'll tell you exactly why you shouldn't have left those chicken bones. Hmm?
I'm not fucking stupid, mate. And for the record, Bite is not my mimic. That's the captain's. And he kind of like turns the mimic to like look at you guys, and he starts to like pant again, that long tongue almost reaching the floor. And the goblin kind of looks at him. He's like, must have taken a liking to you. Probably why I gave you all your shit back. And he puts him back on the floor. So, how y'all doing in there? Doing all right? Like the stay? Can I get some more blankets?
I'll be fine once I put the corpse of this mimic to your captain.
Oh, don't be like that. We've been as hospitable as we can be. Not everybody gets the luxury cage.
Cage is still a cage, no matter how much luxury there is.
Hey, we didn't put manacles on you.
Deep.
I don't care what you think you didn't put on it.
Well, despite your rudeness, I'm here to get you some dinner. And he kind of takes this like sack off his back and starts kind of like whistling as he like rummages through it. All right. Who likes oranges? And he pulls out a very plump, round orange.
Finkin likes oranges.
Is he
Oh,
still
nice.
unconscious?
I can't wait till they wake up. Him and Laura.
Yeah, I mean, Fenkin, I'll say that you wake up as he starts pulling out oranges, and in your stupor of being dusty and dirty and sweaty and filthy, you look up to see this stark orange fruit of almost like an oasis in a desert.
He takes a moment to come to. It's just like, what happened? Oh God. Ugh. And then he looks around and he sees the fruit and he's like, what is going on?
I mean, it's dinner time, unless you don't want dinner.
Okay.
He
He
reaches
just holds
through
his hand out.
He reaches through the bars and puts an orange in your hand, and you see that 4 of his fingers are indeed fake, kind of like wooden prosthetics attached to the wrist by kind of like a leather strap.
Oh, that's so cool.
So while he's putting his hand through, can I immediately go to grab him and try and
Don't
yank
bite
him?
your fucking hand off.
Jesus Christ, do it.
Chaotic evil guest is here.
Dexterity check.
Okay.
Fagin is just holding this orange and looking really confused at it.
I want to say that like thinking in his like little soup and just bite into it like it's an apple and forget about leaving it.
It's a natural one.
Natural 1.
Oh God, you hold his hand gently and lovingly.
So you suddenly, kind of without thinking, you flash out to grab his hand, but like just at that moment, like Ozla is standing up to look at the orange, and you just kind of like knock her in the back of the head. And the goblin, he kind of looks at you guys. She's like, "Hey, calm down. I'll get to you eventually. There's plenty for everybody." Jesus Christ. And one by one, he kind of like takes fruit out of the bag and hands them to you. He makes his way over to Kira, kind of like cocks his head, pulls out a banana, and just kind of like rests it on his forehead. It falls over a bit, and he reaches through and like puts it back up.
Kira just lets out a little groan.
I'm back in the corner. I'm not paying attention to this guy. I'm still muttering to get my book. If I make it to an hour, the other one will turn to ash.
He pulls out a pair of apples and hands them both to you, Gesh, kind of like gesturing towards Durin. And once everybody has their fruit, he kind of like steps back and kind of like hops up onto a crate, taking out an orange for himself and just kind of starting to peel it. So, what are your names?
Well, I'm Farbottom, and these are my trusty steeds, the idiots.
Oh, come on, lad. You don't gotta be that way. We're not gonna skin you alive. I tell you what.
No, but
you calling
you're
idiots?
all in a cage. And that must be wonderful, doesn't it? Because we should immediately trust anybody who puts anybody else in a cage.
Look, we don't get a lot of stowaways on this particular ship, but when they fall out of the sky, we got a few questions for them. You can't blame us for that.
Then why didn't you question us? You could have talked to us up there. We were as powerless up there as we are down here. So, you could have done that. But no, you decided to put us all in this cage. Are you just too scared of a fair fight? Is that it? Is that why you had your elf with its stupid music instrument thing? Are you all just cowards? I thought you were pirates. Not babies.
Go on.
He takes a bite of his orange.
Sid.
He takes a bite of his orange, and with his mouth full, he says, "Well, you know, Captain Talnaris didn't get where she was by not being cautious. How about this? I'll introduce myself. That seems like the polite thing to do. I'm Denian Bran, but you can call me Two Fingers if you like. I'm the cannoneer of this here ship, cannoneer of the mighty Stormwolf."
Everyone's gonna write that down.
Oh, don't worry, Two Fingers. I'll find your cannon, and I'll shove it right down your throat.
Which one, mate? We got 40.
As many as fits.
Thought he meant which throat. It's like, how many do you have?
I was thinking.
Do you mean my butt throat? That one's gonna hurt.
Oh God. Nox has. I assume by now she has procured her staff, and she has retreated to kind of sitting against the wall with it's still in staff form, but it's laid across her lap, very slimy, and she was just kind of like listening to this exchange, and then eventually she just kind of huffs a sigh and she says, "Listen, we have had a very taxing couple of days, and I am sure you are not impressed by our sudden appearance here. But frankly, neither are we, and we would like nothing more than to get out of here. So if your captain is interested in speaking with us, it is understandable. The sooner we can get that out of the way, the better for everybody.
Oh, she does want to speak to you. I mean, she wants to speak to one of you.
Well, anybody that wants to speak to one of us will be speaking to all of us. We are not going to be separated.
Yeah, you really don't look like you're the one who's here to be making commands. After all, you are kind of, and he kind of gestures to the cage. Well, you know.
Do you think we won't fight if you try and take one of us?
Look, mate, we're not gonna hurt you. We might be pirates, but we're not monsters.
There's no difference.
Come see, come saw.
Excuse me.
Harsh.
What are you?
What were you saying?
I can throw you out the hole I made if you want. You want to join these people, and then I'll throw you with the rest of this crew off of the edge of whatever craft this is.
Hey, back off. Why don't you
I
sit
can
down
throw
and cool
you
down
out
for a
too.
bit?
Duncan, who just woke up.
Use the orange. I want him to yeet the orange.
Thinking wakes up and chooses violence.
Can I try and catch the orange that's been yeeted at me?
Sure, yeah. Give me a
Do
dexterity.
I also roll something?
I'll say that you don't have to roll an attack because he's like 5 feet away. But Gesh, your reaction. Give me a dexterity saving throw,
Okay.
and with advantage because this is Fenkin.
Oh, yay!
Excuse me, I have a plus
Wow.
5 dexterity.
Rude.
Even your humming is so sweet. I love it.
Get away from me, or I'm gonna kill you right now.
21.
21. All right.
Damn.
Liar.
Boom. Can I?
Liar.
And then through the gap, I'm gonna throw this at Mr. Two Fingers. Just.
All right.
The orange.
Fenkin, you watch as like almost like a machine, the orange is like snatched out of the air, and Gesh, you turn to throw it at Denian, but once again the mimic.
Damn it.
My orange.
And Denian reaches down to pat him like, good boy, Biter, good boy. Ah, boy, howdy, we might not need to deal with you ourselves. Looks like you might just kill each other in the next hour.
Just glares at Gesh.
Gesh isn't even looking at him.
Damn. Ice cold.
I am air.
And Gesh loses his dick, and then he starts making enemies again.
That's what happens, man.
What happened with that skin book?
No,
I don't know.
Where do you think I got the scales?
Horrible.
Anyhow, Denian eventually gets up off his crate and he says, well, in any case, I'm here to pick up the halfling, so, miss, if you'd like to come with me. And he snaps his fingers, and you watch as the bars closest to you suddenly shoot.
what the fuck? I'm not fucking coming.
Gesh is gonna make a run for it immediately to try and.
My God, Gesh!
Gesh is literally always ready to fight, and I'm very down for it.
So, Gesh, you charge through the hole, but just as your head is through, shook, you're stuck.
Fenkin starts laughing.
And Denian's just like, Denian's just like, you're not very good at this, are you?
And then I open my mouth and begin to charge the lightning.
Do
once
it.
more.
Do it.
And I try to fire my lightning breath right at this guy.
Okay. Unfortunately, the lightning breath dissipates in your throat, and all you're able to get out is like a.
God damn it.
And
Fenkin laughs so hard at him.
and Denian, still kind of smirking with you while your mouth is still open, takes an apple and just boop, right in your mouth. And he snaps his fingers again, and Ozla, while keeping Gesh's head where it is, the portion beneath him kind of like opens up to a halfling size, and he says, "Come along, ma'am. Captain would like to speak to you."
I'm not going
reaches
anywhere.
out.
My crew comes with me.
All
Fenkin
right.
reaches out to grab her shoulder. Like, don't go.
Figured you might do this. All right, she said you can bring one. And I'm putting a veto on that. Can't be the blue one.
Yeah, no, he's having a mental breakdown today.
Just
Cool.
Oz like scans it and she looks over at the others. Durin is in the fucking corner. Nox is trying to figure out what's going on. Fenkin absolutely smashed. So,
Not
Well,
allowed.
excuse me? I'm like smashed.
leave me. I'm British. Leave me alone. But she has to pick someone, and she, when Fenkin grabbed her, she grabs his hand. She says, "This one."
That one.
That one. I want that one.
All right, sounds fine to me. Come on then. And he kind of ushers you guys away. He kind of ushers you guys towards him as he turns to make for the stairwell.
As the two of them leave, Oz is going to turn around and look at me. You wrecked shepherd! And be like, we're going to look for something, and if we can get you out fast, we'll try.
Meanwhile, Fenkin turns around and gives Gesh
Don't kill each other, please, on a pirate ship.
On a pirate ship.
Yeah.
So,
And then I'm going to turn around and start walking with him.
all right. So as you guys exit through the small hole beneath Gesh, Fenkin having to like crawl through a bit, it closes behind you, and you begin to ascend the stairs behind this goblin. And Fenkin, you turn around just in time to see Nilo kind of like sitting up in his pen, and with a very concerned kind of tilt of the head.
He calls out to him in Elvish and says, I'll be back.
Oh.
And with that, Denian leads you guys up from the brig and into the light of day. He pushes open a pair of doors that are at the very top, almost like a trap door, and light suddenly like floods through. Yep.
Is Gesh still stuck?
Yes, she's still stuck. Yes.
Stuck in a wall.
The bottom beneath.
No!
No!
Stop it.
No.
Oh no, Elvish being, I'm stuck in the wall.
Oh no, I'm stuck, Boo.
There's gonna be a fic about this, mate. I just you wait.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, Nox. Kira, turn away.
Look away.
I am dealing with things in my own way.
Right.
You just need to lubricate
And I cast black tentacles.
You just need to lubricate the bars a bit so you can slip back through.
Oh god, wait. As if I've decided that time. Oh, I'm just gonna peek in on my little. Oh. That was not what I gave you my phone for.
Doran can have you.
technically kill Dorn.
Dorn would say yes. Dorn would say do.
Dorn would be down. Dorn understands. He's down to Dorn.
Connor, are you okay? Have you given up? Is the campaign done? Are we finished? Is it past the time?
And that's where we're gonna end today's game.
What are you doing, Step Drow?
Oh, awful.
Oh, Christ.
Anyway, so light floods down the stairwells, kind of like stinging your guys' eyes as Denian pushes open the trapdoor leading down to the brig. But eventually, the darkness of the brig gives way to the deck, which is in full swing of life. Like busy worker bees, all the pirates are, one by one, helping each other attend to their different tasks. You see a set of 3 pirates are like are brushing the deck in unison, kind of like whistling to themselves. You see what appears to be a very slender tabaxi, kind of like scaling the crow's nest, and she has in her arms what appears to be some kind of like triangular pieces of fabric that Ozla, you immediately recognize as wind socks. And as she makes her way up to the crow's nest, she starts tying the wind socks to the crow's nest, and you can see that there's a bunch of wind socks already kind of like tied around in different spots of the nest, including on the steps that kind of lead up to it. You can see that off to the side of the ship, there's that huge man in that suit of armor that you guys that Gesh encountered beforehand, and you see 2 pirates kind of like hooking up a pair of hooks to it. With chains that kind of lead to this kind of like spooling mechanism in the center of the deck. But again, there's kind of pirates of every race and creed here, drinking, working, and making merry of, and not exactly the kind of like rigid, cruel pirate ship that one would normally imagine when one thinks about pirates. But as this, as you guys make your way onto the deck. You can still feel like people watching you, and yeah. So you kind of like walk across the deck towards the captain's quarters, and as you pass, more pirates kind of like stop what they're doing to watch you. Fenkin, particularly Big Bugbear, kind of clad in like chef's robes, kind of like pushing a cart. He looks at you. He cocks his head, and you watch as he on the ground, just a big old loogie.
As he does that, Oz pulls me and she's like, don't look him in the fucking eye. Don't look him in the fucking eye.
You also see kind of like the hidden stories throughout the ship as you guys walk. You can see that an older, like grizzled half-orc is kind of like crouched down next to a what appears to be like a teenage human who's kind of like learning how to like tie the different ropes, and he's just kind of like guiding him along, showing him what the different knots are for and that kind of thing. You also see a red tiefling kind of swabbing the deck, with horns that curl back like this a bit, and he kind of regards you guys as well. He looks and Ozla, you know somebody who's like drunk and trying to hide it when you see it. So like he kind of wipes his mouth and turns away as he continues to mop. But something seems familiar about him as well.
No.
And you don't really recognize why he's familiar. But eventually you are led to a pair of maroon doors that are flanked by kind of like these gilded columns and this palisade that kind of hangs overhead. It's a very, very nice looking entrance. And Denian stops, knocks 3 times, and he says, turns to you and he says, "All right, she'll be out for you in a second. Don't cause any trouble."
All right, mate.
All right. Are you a boy? And he points at Fenkin.
Yes.
All right. Just want to make sure we were getting you fitted for dresses. Have a good one. And he kind of stumbles away, heading back towards the brig.
I'm not gonna say more about that.
Oh my god, I imagine Fenton in like really, like the Vampires of the Caribbean.
Yes.
Dress.
Oh yeah.
I would love him that. Please make it happen.
Wait, were they taking measurements while he was unconscious?
Don't ask questions you don't want the answer to. Anyway, so
All right.
Jesus.
eventually one of the maroon doors pulls open, and Captain Talnaris, the very handsome high elven woman in her red coat, now with her hat off and her long golden hair kind of like freely splayed out behind her, is standing at the door. She stands very prim and proper and nods at the both of you, and gestures with a gloved hand for you to come in. And she kind of whispers, "Don't keep me waiting. Come along."
Oz walks in and she pulls Franklin along with her, but when she goes in, it's very evident that she is not. Are you fucking kidding me? Sorry.
God.
Hang on, I can't be right back. God damn it.
That scared me so bad.
How about a 5-minute break?
Oh my God. Break time.
I didn't even hear what her brother said.
Yeah.
I think she said the doorbell or something, didn't she? The doorbell went off?
I love that woman.
Maybe there's
She must hate yours.
While she's gone,
That was so real.
while she's gone, we will cut back to the brig.
Okay.
Kira, you begin to awaken, your head kind of pounding and your chest hurting quite a bit as you as you wake up. And there's again, you as you kind of wake up, you smell the stale sweat in the old wood of the room. But now there's the added sensation of the drool of the mimic that kind of permeates the air. But yeah,
Ew.
now you awaken and you're looking up at the ceiling.
Where was that banana put on me?
It's on your forehead.
It's on my forehead.
It's on your forehead.
Well, Giuseppe sees it. He's like, first off, he's confused. He kind of grabs it and sits up, kind of looks around. And he notices, obviously, that there's some people missing. And he looks at whoever's closest to him and asks, what happened? Where are we?
Has it been an hour yet?
It has not been quite an hour yet, no.
Okay.
Soon. I can say that it's not, because she's probably the one that is most suitable for conversation at this moment between the people remaining in the cage. She's kind of been chilling with her staff, probably sort of tapping it against the ground, tapping out a little rhythm. And she looks up at him, and she, first of all, she nods at the banana and says, "That is for you. It's a snack."
I packed your lunch.
He kind of like eyes it up. He's like, is it safe to eat?
Are you allergic?
No, I'm just not sure I trust random food that appeared on my forehead while I was passed out.
She
We
nods.
were in the Feywild. I was in the Feywild for about 4 weeks.
Well, I'm pretty sure we're not in the Feywild anymore. We are, how to say this? We are under the deck on some pirate ship, I believe. And some of us have been escorted away to speak to the captain. And the rest of us are twiddling our thumbs while we wait for either their return or their death. So I would eat that banana if I were you. We're probably going to need the calories.
Kira, as you listen to the explanation and you look around, you see Gesh like facing away from you. His head still.
So he's like in one of those things, like in old timey times.
Yeah, those like headlock things, yeah, where they throw fruit at you. Yeah.
They would put fool in the town square.
Yeah. I gotta admit, that would probably cross Kira's mind like a banana. He'd look at it and then look at Gesh and then look back at the banana and be like, nah.
Yeah, does he want apps or is he hungry? Which is more important?
No, he definitely rips it open and starts eating it. Because the last time he doesn't remember the last time he ate. He thought it was everything was a dream.
Surprise! You're still in the Feywild.
But he definitely looks
Ew. Blech.
But he looks at Nox, he just kind of peels it in, and he's just kind of nodding as he listens, and he's like, "That's great, I thought that was all a dream, but I'm glad that it wasn't. I'm glad we're out of the Feywild at least, but I'm not glad that we're trapped in a cage."
Well, at least it is more manageable, in my opinion, than a Feywild excursion. I am sure we will be out of here sooner or later. Or we will be dead, and it won't matter. One of the two.
So you guys sure have caused me a lot of problems since we've met.
That makes her laugh, and she says, "Yes, that is what we do."
Yeah, it's a little bit of excitement in my life, I'll take it.
Durin, it's at this point, while you're rocking back and forth, you see that Kira has waken up. But you also see that Nox has her that weird cane that she's always carrying. And you notice how long it is, and you realize, oh, that might reach my book.
My eyes dart to her very abruptly. You. My book. You can reach it.
She looks at him for a couple of seconds with a very clear, like, what the fuck is this guy on about? Sort of a look for a moment. And then she looks down at her cane and she's like, "Oh, to see." She she nudges his hand aside with the staff and says, "I will do it. Relax. Give me a second." And she will shimmy over to the bars facing the book and extends her cane out between the bars and try to nudge the book closer within grabbing distance.
All right. So, yeah, the Courage of the Rose is able to reach it no problem. But next to the book is that strange mangled gun that Durin was given by Porgub. And as you reach Courage of the Rose towards it, as if something is like tugging on the end, you feel it naturally kind of like pull towards the gun instead.
Oh. It's magnetic, it's repelling. She makes a face. She's like, she makes the face of somebody who is just like not in the mood. Just like not in the mood for this.
The book gurgles.
She mumbles.
You know that one book from Harry Potter where you have the monster book that like
Gross.
I have to tell this story really quick, and then I'll let you continue. I promise. I was watching that movie with a friend of mine. We were rewatching all of them, and that scene happened, and she immediately like screamed out, "Can you eat pussy like that?" Continue. I'm sorry.
Oh God. Nox
I'm down on my stomach with my arms reached out from the bars, waiting.
Just trying his very best. She's just like grumbling, like, stupid daily book. And she is trying to resist the pull to get the book because that is what he asked her for.
It's
so she's
not
doing
hard,
her best.
It's not hard to resist. It's not like something's yanking Courage of the Rose, but it's just more like a slight magnetic attraction, like you said. But you are able to like hook the book, and as that happens, you see like the book kind of react. You see it breathe almost. You see the scales kind of like ripple down where there are scales. And the eye that opens and watches the cane as you pull it closer.
Nasty. She is making a clear face of disgust as she pushes the book towards Durden until it is in his grasp. And then she very quickly removes her cane and mumbles an apology to it for making it touch that horrible thing.
Instead of
And then
accept-
I'm also scrabbling for my gun as well. But I do hold the book.
instead of accepting the apology, there's a long pause until you finally hear, "He should not have that, Obera mine."
She is now sticking the cane back out again to try to like nudge the gun towards him. Just kind of like bat it like a little
You
golf
should
ball.
hold the gun.
He does need gun. And as she's doing that, she grumbles, "Yes, well, he has a lot of things that he shouldn't have."
All right. Back at the ranch, with Fenkin and Ozla, you guys, Talnaris kind of like steps away to let you guys into the captain's quarters. And the first thing you notice is that this room is huge and it is luxurious as a motherfucker. The ground is carpeted in this like red velvet carpet. And when you peer into the room to look at the walls, you can see it's just all trophies of all different kinds. The bleached skull of a very strange sea creature hangs from one of the ceilings. And you can see the rest of its skeleton kind of like built up behind it, as if simulating it swimming. You can see a web of tapestries and things. You see different weapons kind of like hung up against the walls, each one with different like tags and templates and labels and all sorts of things. There's a cabinet with what appears to be stolen china and finery. There's entire shelves and tables that are just covered in just fine glinting silverware, and at the very center of it all, there's a large like California king-sized bed. It's kind of like one of those. I don't know how do I describe that? Do you know that bed that Disney princesses have, where like they have the poles? What?
A canopy.
Well, they have like drapes
Canopy
and
bed.
as well.
That's
Mhm.
the bitch. There's a canopy bed with very thin silken like drapes that can be opened and closed, kind of like standing guard over silken sheets and very large fluffy pillows. And a cat, an orange cat, kind of like paces around the room a little bit, with green eyes kind of like flickering your guys' way as you step in. And Talnaris closes and locks the door behind you. You hear the clink of the heavy lock as she also steps into the room. She cuts an imposing figure, and the way she moves is almost like a reed of grass in the wind. But eventually, she steps past you and gestures towards a table near the left side of the room that's kind of like overlooked by a glass window that peers out from at the back of the boat. And on that table, there's empty goblets and a big, what seems to be a roasted turkey with those little white cap things on the legs. There's biscuits in a bowl, a few salads and things like that. And you watch as Talnaris takes a seat on one of the more ornate chairs and gestures at the other two seats, and she says, "Have a seat. Have your fill. We've much to discuss. I'm assuming you might be a little hungry, perhaps for something more than just oranges."
When I was saying earlier, when Oz walks in, it's very evident that she is not, even though she's on a pirate ship, she is not, she's not comfortable in a way. And then she walks in, she stands up straight and she looks more serious than she ever has, because she's used to being in places like this, being the captain's brig. And she sort of sounds like a soldier with her hands behind her back. And seeing the food, she licks her lips a little bit because she is starving as hell. But she doesn't move, and she makes sure Fenkin doesn't move first as well. And she says, "Look, ma'am, I'm sorry, but first you have to tell me what we're talking about."
We're going to be talking about whether you live or you die, so I suggest you take a seat.
Well, that's one way of doing it. All right then. And she makes sure that Fen sits down right next to her, but she does get on the chair.
All
She
right.
doesn't want any food.
So as you both like sit down, Fenkin, you feel the cat kind of like brush up against your leg as you sit down, and when you peer down to look at it, it looks up at you with those big green eyes, and kind of without warning, just sort of like leaps into your lap.
He's pleasantly surprised. He tries not to get too distracted and to keep a serious face, but he's like very like
Wrong motherfucker to the party.
linear mouth is like twitching a little bit as he resists a smile when he reaches down and like starts caressing the cat and scratching it behind its ears.
You can see Talnaris' tricorn cap is kind of like on a hat rack situated in the corner next to the chair, and as she stands up, she removes her coat and hangs that up as well. And as she removes her coat, her arm finally slips out of the sleeve, the arm that had been holding the sword, and you see that her hand is metal. You can see the interlocking gears and wires of a gnomish brass contraption as the fingers kind of like flex. And as she makes her way over to the underneath that, she's kind of wearing this like thin white shirt, kind of like Jack Sparrow. And as she makes her way over to the table and takes up a fork and kind of like spears it into the turkey, and with a click, you watch as like the hand kind of like turns away, and what pops out next is like a kitchen knife, and she starts to like saw pieces of turkey off, kind of like sliding them onto the plates before you guys. And as she kind of like works on the turkey, she says, "Now then, I believe that one of you is far more familiar with these certain surroundings. Aren't you, Miss Highhill, if I remember correctly?"
Ma'am, that's not my name. My name's Silver. You've got the wrong half.
Ooh.
Really?
Oh.
Your name's not Ozla Highhill.
I don't know anyone by that name.
She stops cutting. And she kind of like looks at the knife. The last man who lied to me was the man who I was married to. His skin is what makes up our new flag.
I was gonna say, is there a story to that arm? Because it looks like you gutted him with it.
It's the least he deserved. Clank, and the knife spins away and turns into a hand again, which she flexes. I don't enjoy being lied to, Mrs. Highhill, and I don't forget things. Tell me, if you're not Mrs. Highhill, as you so say you are, perhaps then you've never heard of a ship called the Needle.
Try as she might, Ozla does flinch. And if Fen is looking, you can see her hand fall into fists on her knees under the table. It takes a lot of willpower to say, never heard of it.
He reaches out under the table to hold her hand.
Oh.
I understand why you lie, Miss Highhill. I get it, I really do. It's our profession, our bread and butter as privateers. But you're among friends of a kind here. Again.
Friends?
Yes, I'd say so. After all, I knew Captain Vaughn very well.
How well did you know this man?
We were good friends before, and she kind of pauses. Before that night, we went on a few sailing excursions with one another. He was somebody I could confide in when the sea is full of people who I can't. He was perhaps one of the few men that I actually did trust. He was a good man, an honest man, which is why I didn't at all believe that he would betray the menagerie in the way that he did. It's why I didn't bring the Stormwolf to have the needle executed. It's why I wasn't there. But you were. And the fact that you were is somewhat confusing to me, considering the fact that you seem very much alive.
No, I need you to be honest with me. What do you know about the needle?
I know that it was destroyed. I know that the Plank King believes your captain betrayed him. I know that the entire crew of the Needle is dead, apparently save for one.
The entire crew?
As far as I know, yes. I haven't
Yeah,
I haven't
you keep going.
I haven't returned to the Plank King's kingdom for quite some time since that day, nor have I returned to land. I've been keeping my distance. It's no secret that I was good friends with Captain Vaughn, and it's no secret that I made several excursions with the Needle alongside my own Stormwolf. So, I've been keeping my head down, but the fact that nobody has been sent to execute me and my crew seems to be good news. So, dear, tell me, what happened that night?
I wasn't actually prepared today. I thought we were just gonna like help out with flagpole. Oz is now more shaken than she ever has been because this is the first real time someone who knows the needle other than Fenkin has spoken about it to her and is talking about her crew. It's the first time she's heard her captain's name in so long. And hearing it for the first time, it makes her want to trust this woman so badly. And she sort of leans forward, and she just looks at her and she's, I don't know why what happened. I've been looking for a way to fix it since it happened, and I haven't found any yet. I've been looking for my crew, but I haven't found any yet.
Her rigid features turn a bit softer as she takes her seat, and she reaches out to kind of like take up a glass of wine, uncork it, and she pours you a glass and pours Fenkin a glass. And she says, "You were quite a young thing when I first met you. Just a child, a little drowned pup that Vaughn had brought on. It confused me. He was never much one for stowaways, but he always told me he saw something within you. Which is why I suppose I'm not as surprised as I should be that you are the only survivor. When you say fix what has been done, is it true then? Did Captain Vaughn really not betray the Plank King?"
That's the thing, I don't know what he betrayed him about. I think he stole something from him. And he was on the run ever since, but I don't know what it is, so I don't know if it's true.
So you don't know the full story then?
I know bits. Old stories he used to tell me, but nothing permanent.
I see. Well then, according to the Plank King, Captain Vaughn is responsible for the death of his only daughter.
Yeah, sorry, that shocked me. Oz sort of. She doesn't believe it. Her eyes just go wide, and there's not even a moment where she's like, maybe because that isn't the man that she grew up with. She sort of leans forward and says, "No, if you knew Fawn like I did, and you say you do, you know he wouldn't have done that."
I know that just as well as you do, dear. But I also know that the Plank King's word is law in these waters. But you and I, we know that Vaughn was a man of security. He wouldn't just go and murder the Plank King's daughter. But I saw the body myself. The cuts. They were exactly in the sword style of old Vaughn. I'm sure it's just a coincidence, and I'm sorry. I should not be taking this so lightly. I'm used to speaking a bit more brazenly around my crew, you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
A toast. And she holds up her goblet. A toast to Captain Vaughn. The hardest motherfucker who ever sailed these seas.
Oz lifts her glass up, says a toast to the man who raised me.
Fenkin is just like looking at the cup very reluctantly.
Fenkin's just like, I don't know what the fuck is going on.
As you look at the cup, the cat in your lap, you kind of like gaze over the cat on your lap, and he brings a paw up like.
Where are the fucking animals in this? So damn smart.
Come here, come back.
He very reluctantly goes like, and then he just swipes the whole thing.
Chug, 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 chug.
So you all take a deep swig of the very bitter wine, and kind of like put your cups down at the same time. And as you do, Fenkin, you realize that you've put your cup down on a map that had been sitting on the table. And I would like you to make me an investigation check really quick.
I swear to God, if this is going where I think it is.
And while he's doing that, she's going to Talnaris is going to look back at Ozla and say, "Now, if you'll forgive me, I do have some more questions. Specifically, why were you falling out of the sky?"
That is a very long story, Captain. We just came from the Feywild.
You just came from the Feywild.
After getting locked in the Feywild, it's like an escape in, an escape out. We thought we were going to the coast.
Right. Well, I've heard and seen stranger, I suppose. In any case, you're here now, and my mage has deduced that you are indeed human, for the most part, among you. So, I suppose I don't have reason to not trust you. I suppose that you'll be wanting a trip back to dry land, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I see. Fenkin, what'd you roll, by the way?
15.
15, cool. Alright, so the map itself is kind of like a map of the bay around Port Zoon. It's not really any kind of special map. It's kind of, you can see that it's kind of like a recent make, it's not as like waterlogged as most maps might be on a pirate ship. But then you look at the date on the map, and a chill runs through your body. When you were last in Exandria, the year was 812 AD, PD. This map says 813 PD.
So he put the cup down, and he's still like from the taste of alcohol. And then he blinks his eyes open and he looks at the map. And then he looks at it for a bit and he doesn't think too much about it, but he just kind of gives it an overview because he hasn't seen a map in a long time. And then he sees the date and he just freezes. And he feels the chill. And he just like swallows really hard.
As you're kind of like frozen in your chair, Talnaris continues the conversation with Ozla. Well, I suppose we can make do with that. We'll be able to mask our sails easily enough not to be shot down as we approach the docks. In any case, we will need your assistance with a few things around the ship, and perhaps with a favor of sorts.
What kind of favour, Captain?
Well, I shouldn't even have to ask you this question, considering who you are, but what are your thoughts on doing a bit of treasure hunting?
Captain, you know exactly who I am.
We see bitches have to stick together, don't we?
You see, bitches have to stick together, Captain.
And she brings out her like metal hand and like clasps it on yours as you guys like do that like yeah kind of thing. And it's at this point, Ozla, you kind of like look over at Fenton, and he's normally when he's like where he's very pale, he's just like dead white now.
I was just like so like in the thing, and she's Ben, what's up?
He's quiet for a long time. Continue.
Talnaris asked if you were seasick.
Fenton is quiet for a long time. And then he licks his lips that feel very dry suddenly. And then he looks up at her, and his voice is unusually shaky when he asks, "What year is this?"
814 PD. Why?
Ozla?
It's 8:14, Captain.
Yes. Why do you ask?
It wasn't 8:14 when we left.
Excuse me?
When did we leave? Is it 8:09 or
8:12.
8:12. Okay. She said 8:12.
We were only gone for like... It wasn't that long. It was
4 days. 4 days, Ben.
Are you saying you've been gone for 2 years?
I think he starts hyperventilating.
I was putting a hand on his back. If the map is correct, then yeah.
Oh. Oh dear. And with that, we're going to take a break.
You bitch.